Hi everyone. So in this question, we're going to be reversing a list in place, meaning that we're mutating the original list instead of making a new list and returning it at the end. So in our first example, we're given list 1, 2, 3, 4, and when we reverse it, list is now 4, 3, 2, 1. Similarly, if we're given the list pi 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, when we reverse it, pi is now 5, 1, 4, 1, 3. So the general approach that we're going to take is to start at the ends of the list, swap the elements, and continually move into the middle of the list, swapping elements, until all of the pairs have been swapped and the list is completely reversed. So in our first case, this length of the list is even, and so all of the pairs match up nicely. We also see that for every iteration, we're doing kind of two swaps. We're swapping this guy with this guy, meaning that we actually only have to go through half the list because we're starting at each side and moving in simultaneously. So in a more general sense, the number of iterations that we have to go through on this list is the length of the list divided by 2. Okay, so let's see for an odd length list. In pi, we still start from the ends, move forward and swap until we hit the middle, but when we hit this middle element, we actually don't have to do anything to it because it's actually in the right place. If we look at this 4 in the original list, it's actually in the same place as in the reverse list. So we don't have to do anything to it. We can just ignore it. And so we see that in this odd length list, we actually only have to go through half the elements. However, we're going to get a decimal, and so it's actually half the elements rounded down. And so in a more general sense, the number of iterations that we have to go through in an odd length list, the length of the list, florative 2. And if we use florative in the first even case, that's the same number. So this is the most general. So now that we know what our number of iterations that we're going to go through, we can start writing our for loop. Length of the list, florative 2. Okay, so we're going to go through the range, length list, florative 2. Now that we've correctly done our iterations, we have to correctly mutate our list. And so for this we see, if we start at the first element at index 0, the element at index 0 needs to be swapped with the element at index, in this case, 4. And so in a more general sense, we can say that the element at index I that we're iterating through be swapped with its corresponding element at the length of the list minus I minus 1. So now what we've done is we've made this 3 be a 5, but we also have to remember that this 5 needs to be 3. So we can simply add that this element be equal to the element at index I. One more thing. So when we're iterating through this range, we're iterating through the indices. And that's what we actually want to be doing. In mutation, we want to be going through the indices rather than the elements of the list. Because if we were to go through the elements of the list, we would be getting the numbers 3, 1, 4, 1, 5. And I'd be saying the list of 5. But there actually is no element 5. I actually want the element 4, or the element 3, or the element 2. And so for that reason, when you're doing mutation, just remember to go through the indices rather than the elements themselves. And so there we have it. We've successfully reversed a list in place.